laughed when he signed the divorce papers. Not a soft laugh, but the smug, victorious kind. The sound of a man who believed he'd already won. He leaned back in that courtroom chair like a king, finalizing terms of surrender. But what Robert didn't know was that he'd just walked straight into his own ruin. Because the woman he underestimated, she wasn't walking away. She was about to walk over him. His name was Robert. 10 years ago, he was just another dreamer with a cracked laptop, bad credit, and a big pitch. But with charm, hustle, and relentless ambition, he built a business from a one-bedroom apartment in Detroit into a six-figure operation based in Grand Rapids. And standing quietly in the background, Karen, his wife, the one who worked 2 jobs to pay rent, make coffee, and more importantly, keep their accounts from overdrafting when his dreams outpaced reality. But in Robert's version of their story, Karen was never a partner. She was a placeholder, a shadow, support staff. He could dismiss the moment he didn't need her anymore. When they sat across from each other in Brooklyn family court, Robert smirked as he clicked his pen and signed the prenup, his get out of marriage free card. The kind of smile you'd expect from a man who believes the battle's already over. But then the judge lifted the document to the light, squinted, and uttered 5 words that changed everything. This document is not valid. Silence. Robert blinked once, twice, and for the first time that morning, his smirk vanished. Let's rewind. Before the suits and courtrooms, before the betrayal, Karen and Robert were just 2 kids in Crown Heights with nothing but secondhand furniture and whispered dreams. He was the big talker, always planning, always promising. She was the steady hand, budgeting every dime, sacrificing job offers, graduate programs, and even sleep to help him succeed. She believed they were building a life together, not just a business. So when Robert said, "Don't worry about putting your name on the paperwork, it'll complicate taxes," she trusted him. When he said, "It's our company," she believed him. But as the business grew, Robert's gratitude shrank. Meetings moved behind closed doors. Karen was left off emails, for questions were met with her presence became inconvenient. And then, after a decade of sacrifice, the papers arrived. Divorce, with a prenup that gave her nothing but her maiden name. No house, no business, no thanks. In that courtroom, Robert thought the prenup was his shield, but Karen had something stronger. The truth. Her attorney, Tamika Monroe, lifelong friend and absolute powerhouse, stood and calmly shredded Robert's illusion. No notary, no witness, no legal filing with the county clerk. In the eyes of the law, it was just a piece of paper, and that was just the beginning. Tamika rolled out receipts like a prosecutor with a vendetta. Emails with Karen's name showing early investor outreach. Bank statements proving she funded the first inventory shipment. Spreadsheets in her handwriting. Pictures of her at trade shows. Meeting agendas with her annotations. Then came the testimonies. Karen's sister, IVT, took the stand and delivered a quiet, emotional blow. "My sister gave up everything for him. She turned down a scholarship, helped his parents, ran his business, paid the bills while he slowly erased her." Robert's lawyer tried to argue intent, but the judge wasn't having it. Intent doesn't override law. And as Karen stood to speak, the courtroom hushed. She didn't rage. She didn't cry. She just told the truth. "I wasn't behind the scenes. I was the scene. I used my savings to buy the domain. I wrote the first investor pitch. I stayed up editing slide decks so he could sleep. I gave up my life because I believed in our dream, not his, ours." The courtroom felt like it wasn't breathing. Even Robert's foot had stopped bouncing. And then came the final blow. Tamika handed the judge a 1-page certified letter from the county clerk. "There is no record of this prenup ever being filed. Not in 2011. Not in 2014. Not ever." Robert stammered, barked, lashed out. "She didn't build this company. I did." She answered emails. "She supported me." But Judge Whitaker didn't raise his voice. He didn't even blink. "Enough," he said. One word. Sharp, final. Then came the ruling. Based on the evidence presented, this court finds in favor of Mrs. Karen Fields. The business known as Fields Solutions, the marital home, a majority of assets shall be awarded to her. Mr. Fields will retain 1 vehicle and a portion of shared savings. Robert didn't move, didn't speak. He just sat there, mouth open, staring at the spot on the table where his precious prenup used to sit. And Karen, she stood calmly, collected her old leather bag, the same one she'd carried through years of building a company she was never allowed to claim, and she walked out into the daylight. No tears, no smirk, just strength, the quiet strength of someone who had finally been seen. Sometimes justice doesn't come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with a judge who reads the fine print, with friends who remember who you really are, and with walking away head high, shoulders back, from the man who thought he wrote your ending, but forgot you held the pen the entire time. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell us in the comments. Have you ever been erased by someone you loved, only to rise stronger? And if you want more emotionally powerful stories like this one, make sure to subscribe, because next time we're diving into what happened when a hotel maid picked up a call in Dutch and exposed a billionaire's biggest secret.